Hi everyone, and welcome to this video where I will show you how to work with text data, sometimes called string data. And this is a lot easier than you think it is, and it's going to save you a lot of time, I hope. All right, so let's hop over to the computer and look at this together. On your screen, we have some transaction data, and one of the fields in this data is full name, and you can see the names here are they're listed as last name, comma, first name. And let's say for whatever reason we want to have this as first name, last name with a no comma, just a space between the first and last name. So we want to reformat this. One way we could do this is we could just say we can manually type it. And so for this first value here, I'm just going to type Julie Rivera, and bam, I'm done. That was easy, right? That's probably the fastest way to do it. However, to manually do that the way I just did it, manually typing it, for this data has 81,929 different names, and that would take far too long to do that by hand or by manually typing the first and last name. So what we can do instead is we can create formulas using these arguments and these functions that are available in both Excel and Google Sheets. All right, so let's see how to do this. All right, so I'm just going to delete this. The first thing we want to know is we want to know the length. How many characters are in this full name field? All right, so we're going to use a function called len, and len stands for length. And that's going to tell us how long this name is. So it has 13 characters. R is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the comma, 8 is the space, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's counting all of the characters in this cell. Why do we need that? Because we're going to use that to identify the breakpoint for first and last name. All right, so let's see what that looks like. I'm going to add another column here. I'm going to say insert column right. Oops, not that. Insert column left. And I want to say, let's find where the comma is. I want to know where the comma is because it seems to me that the comma is the thing that separates the first and last name in these cells. So I'm going to use another function called find. And I'm going to search for the character comma, and it's important to put this in quotation marks. So I'm searching for the comma, and I'm going to search this cell's value, and I just want to return the position of that value. All right, and this is formatted as a date. I don't know why. Let's change the formatting here, and so it's okay. So the comma is located at position 7. I promise we're almost there. Once we have these positions, it's easy going from here on out, all right? So it's saying the comma is in position 7. R is 1, I is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's saying the comma is in position 7. This whole thing is 13 characters long. All right, so how do we do this now? All right, I'm going to insert one last column here, and I'm going to say I want to return the first name. So I'm going to say use a function called write, and what the write function does is it reads text from right to left as opposed to left to right. So I want to read this cell's value, and I want it to go, we have to tell it how many letters to go over or how many characters in this cell to go from the right. So Julie is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we want to pick up the first 5 characters, but we don't want the space and we don't want the comma. So how can we use these values? Well, I'm going to say take the length of the variable, subtract the position of where the comma is, and then subtract 1 from that. And that will give us 5 characters. Okay. And this will give us Julie. Okay. All right. And if we were to copy this down, it should work for every value here. Well, unfortunately, I didn't copy these other formulas down. So now it works. All right. So now we're identifying Grayson, Janaya, Carson, so on and so forth. So we have the first name. Now we need to pick up the last name. And it's a similar process. Right. So the last name, I'm just going to type this down in another cell, and then eventually I'm going to combine all this. So I'm going to say Instead of right, I want to use the left function. And so I want to read the text from the traditional left to right manner. And I'm going to read this. And how many characters? Well, I want to go to the position of where the comma is and go one character to the left. So I'm going to say wherever the comma is, subtract one from that, and I will go from there. All right. Now I'm getting a value error here, and it's because I didn't copy my formulas down again for these other two cells. All right, so now we have Monroe, right? That is the last name, and if we carried this down, we would continue to pick up the last name for these other values, Allen and Hurley. Okay, so now these formulas capture the first name. These formulas down here capture the last name. How can we put it all together? Well, I'm going to say I want to add this formula, this left formula. So I'm just going to copy it without the equal sign. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put in a function called concat or concatenate. And I want to put together two or three text values here. So I'm going to say I want to pick up the first name, and then I want to combine that with a space, and then I want to add our formula that picks up the last name, and that should give us our reformatted name, Julie Monroe, which is not correct because I didn't change the reference to Monroe down here. So this is actually, I want to call this G2 and E2. So 2 and 2, and that will give us Julie Rivera. And now we have our basis of our function here. This will give us first last instead of last first. I can copy this all the way down. And you can see that is indeed what we get. So now we have all of our full name variables reformatted with first comma or first name, last name, as opposed to last name, first name. All right, so I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you feel more confident working with text variables now. And thanks for watching. Take care.